Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Guys, great news this week. The CDC announced that fully vaccinated people no longer have to wear masks or socially distance, except if you go to most places. Anyway, have fun out there.
Welcome to a bar.
Thank you. Do I still have to wear a mask indoors?
You actually do not.
Great.
As long as you're vaccinated.
I'm entering a bar at 11 a.m. Did you really think I was vaxxed? Because that's on you.
You're right. I deserve COVID.
And scene.
Yeah, confusion reigns supreme. Do you wear a mask? Don't you wear a mask? Some people are freaking out. How? Oh, wait, what? You want me to take my mask off? But this is who I've become.
Very worried, especially given how incredibly cautious this president and his team have been. Look, it's scary. It's very scary because as hard as it was for us to all as a society socialize to being distanced and being home, it's just as difficult, maybe even more difficult to come out of that for a lot of people.
Why? And if you've got the vaccine, what do you care? I'm just curious. I am. I'm curious of why, if you have the vaccine, are you worried about whether or not somebody next to you is wearing a mask or you're wearing a mask? You can wear a mask as long as you want, Dana Bash, and everybody else out there. If you want to wear a mask forever, you can wear a mask forever. Nobody is stopping you from wearing a mask. Nobody, not one person is stopping you from wearing a mask. But if somebody else doesn't want to wear a mask, let them not wear a mask. Why did they do it? Why? Why did they do it? Why exactly did they do it this fast? Why? So people are asking. I mean, it's because at some point in time, people are looking out there and going, all right, the numbers are dropping exponentially. The hospitalizations are down big time. The deaths are down. At least, 60% of adult Americans have at least one shot? So at some point in time, this was it. People were over it. They're seeing this wasn't about the COVID anymore. This wasn't about the virus anymore. This was, how long are you going to continue to throw this charade out there? And people were asking the question, too, is they weren't trusting some of the stuff that was coming out. I think the thing that hurt them the most, if you wanted to keep this thing going, was the fact that they came out with those insane camp things for kids and adults, and they were telling you, even if you've been vaccinated, you should be outdoors wearing a mask. And when the New York Times comes calling and starts to say, okay, you've gone too far in the liberal world, then at some point in time you go, well, we have to step back.
The bottom line is I don't think these mask mandates could have survived another week or two. Prevalence is collapsing. The positivity rate's 1.9%. So the worst thing you could say is maybe we could have eked out another week or two of these mask ordinances before we really had to lift them in a wholesale fashion because people would have just disobeyed them.
Yeah. And you're always going to have those people that are going to overthink it. You're always going to have those people that are going to say to themselves, I have to go tell that person, you over there, you're not wearing a mask, and because of you, people are dying. You're always going to have that person. That person's not going away. You're always going to have somebody who says, well, hold on a second. This is going too fast. Slow down. 18 months to flatten the curve? To stop the spread? Going too fast? Are you kidding me? This is insane.
I'm actually really worried right now that we're increasing the risk for our children because essentially what the CDC has done is to lift all mask mandates and social distancing mandates, regardless of whether you're vaccinated. I mean, they say only vaccinated people should be taking off their masks, but we know that that's not how people are going to be. The end result is that vaccinated people are going to be fine, but unvaccinated people are now going to be exposed to all kinds of other unvaccinated people who are now going around maskless with no restrictions. I think it's going to be harder for us to reach herd immunity.
Who cares? We're never going to reach herd immunity the way that some people are dreaming of, which is zero. It's just not going to happen. Secondly, who cares? We're heading into June. Memorial Day is 2 weeks from today. We're heading into June. At some point in time, kids, You've had the opportunity to get the vaccine. If you don't want the damn vaccine, don't get the vaccine. Don't care if you do or don't. Right? We move on with our lives. But I don't think any of us should live our lives based on somebody who doesn't want to get the vaccine or did get the vaccine. I think we should be able to live our lives. We flattened the curve. It took 18 months, which was essentially 17 months, 2 weeks longer than we thought. It's time to get going. It's that simple. It's that simple. Some people, no matter what we do, and what have we talked about? Unwinding this thing will be one of the hardest things for politicians and for bureaucrats to do. They've had the power. They've had people staring at them. They've had people hanging on every word. And to unwind this thing, it's going to be tough. It is. But at the
because
end of the
that incentive to get vaccinated is now gone. Because if every restriction is gone anyway, what's in it for you? So I actually think it's going to be harder for us to get to the point that you want to get to, which is a low enough level of transmission in the fall that our children can actually take off their masks. And that's because the CDC guidance was too abrupt and really skipped a lot of steps that were really unnecessary.
Dr. Lita win there. I think it's just, I think we're all over it. I think at this point in time, it's time to just say, we're moving on. We're getting our lives back together. Enough's enough. Enough's enough. Be careful if you're unvaccinated. Outside of that, live your life. Let people make their own choices. And if you have got vaccinated, the fact that you should still have to wear your mask in certain places, I don't get it. I don't. I mean, you know, some of it's just, to me, it's insane. It really is. Some of the places that I've been where it's like everybody in here is vaccinated, yet we're all still wearing masks and being told to social distance. That's a bit odd. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. It is getting uglier and uglier in Israel. The battle is going on. The Israelis are cracking down harder and harder.
I just want to be a doctor or anything to help my people. I can't. I get scared. I do anything for my people, but I don't know what to do. I'm just 10. I'm just 10. All of this, when I see it, I literally cry every day, saying to myself, why do we deserve this? What did we do to this? They just hate us. They just don't like us because we are Muslims. You see all of the kids around me? They're just kids. Why wouldn't you just send a missile to them and kill them? Not fair.
Yeah, little Palestinian girl, 10. I think the hate goes back a lot longer, and let's not forget what the Jews have been through. So I get with the Palestinian people, and let's not pretend that the Muslim world really cares about the Palestinians. They enjoy hating the Jews more than they care about the Palestinians. And right now, there's a big battle going on, and the Democrats are looking at Biden and saying, "Or what are you going to do? What's your next step? What's your next step?" Secretary of State Anthony Blinken talking about Israel and the battle that's going on and whether or not there's going to be a ceasefire.
Any diplomatic initiative that advances that prospect is something that that we'll support. And we're, again, willing and ready to do that. But ultimately, it is up to the parties to make clear that they want to pursue a ceasefire.
Do they? Israel right now doesn't feel like they do. Why? Because they're getting fired on all the time. And right now it's, no, you did something. No, I did something. No, you did something. No, yeah. And it's back and forth. And look, Israel has every right.
Israel has the right to defend itself. There is no equivalence between a terrorist group indiscriminately firing rockets at civilians and a country defending its people from those attacks.
Yeah. Put it this way. Let's just say, for the sake of argument, the cartels next door to us in Mexico decided, you know what? We're going to go after anybody indiscriminately. We're just going to fire stuff off into border cities, and whatever happens, happens. because we're mad because you're trying to stop us from doing something. And we think that this is our land. Everybody's got a map from some other time ago saying this is our land. What do you think we would do? And right now we're trying to fight the cartels. But what do you think we would do? I don't think we'd fire back. I don't think we'd take it. This is an ugly situation that has been this way for God knows how long. How long have we had maps? That's how long somebody's been pissed at somebody else. And it's not going away anytime soon. I think Hamas wanted to see what's Biden going to do. We knew what Trump was going to do. And you've also got Bibi Netanyahu, and let's not underplay the fact that he has a lot of issues right now. And he's clinging on to power, and he is going to continue to flex his muscles right now. Every right to defend himself, but would there be this much defense going on right now if he was stable in his position? It's a fair question to ask. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Hope you're doing well. Rough Greens makes any pet food better. Love, love, love what it's done for my dogs. It's so amazing. We go through, because we have 3 dogs. They're little. They don't eat a ton. They don't. Well, if Doodle could, he would. But it is just amazing what this has done for my dogs. Their coats are shiny. Their health is better. My older dog, Doodle, who struggled in so many ways, his joints are better, all from Canine VitaSmart. And it is incredible. It's just a little sprinkle on top of their food already. And it brings the nutrients out. It's got vitamins, minerals, vegetables. It's got omega-3, 6, 9 probiotics and many other things inside of there. And it has made their lives better. And it's given my puppies a jump start. And it's given Doodle a new lease on life. Canine VitaSmart right now from Rough Greens. You try the bag for free. You pay for shipping. It's that simple. Go to roughgreens.com/Chad. RUFFgreens.com/Chad. You pay for the shipping. They're going to get you a bag for free. Can't get any easier than that. Or you can call 833-MY-DOG-77. 833-MY-DOG-77. Rough Greens makes any pet food better. Chad Benson Show.
Helen Keller is a Nazi terrorist that is a male. Is that what you're telling me right now?
Yeah.
Are you thinking of Hitler?
Who's Hitler?
Vaccines work, but only the Chad Benson Show is 100% effective against stupidity.
Do you know what D-Day is? D-Day.
A person? A rapper?
God, Karen, you are so stupid.
Check us out on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and wherever you find your favorite woke-free podcasts. This is the Chad Benson Show.
It's your boy, Fauci, the patron saint of Purell. As you probably heard, we got some very good news this week, and I'm not just talking about J-Lo and Ben Affleck. And the CDC announced that people who are vaccinated no longer need to wear masks, outdoors or indoors. Pretty great, right? But a lot of people had questions, such as, what does that mean? What the hell are you talking about? Is this a trap?
Is it a trap? No. Some people will continue to flip out when they see people without a mask, give you that dirty look or say something under their breath. But no, it's not a trap. Apparently, if you've been vaccinated, I've had it and been vaccinated. So at this point in time, what am I doing? What's this charade for? Just curious. What's your charade for? What's your charade for? Why you continue to do these things? Because that's what we do. That's what we do. You put a mask on that you've worn for the last 6 months. You've washed it once, pretended like you're going to do something with it, and it does. Well, I don't know what it does. I don't know who it makes feel better, but it's like the TSA. I keep going back. It's the placebo for people. The TSA is not stopping any great thing from happening. Not the people you see in the little outfits. Maybe there's other people, but if you think that the TSA is really doing something super awesome as they write some weird scribble on your paper and hand you, through and send you on your way. I mean, no, not happening. It's not happening. Same thing with these masks at this point in time. At this point in time, it's more just theater. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. So, Bill Gates and his wife, soon-to-be ex-wife, split up. Now all this stuff's coming out about Bill Gates. And there's a ton of stuff coming out about old Bill there.
Two bombshell reports alleging professional and personal indiscretions by Bill Gates. The Wall Street Journal reports Gates left Microsoft's board in 2019 during an investigation into a prior sexual relationship he had with a female staffer, though a spokesman for Gates says his decision to leave was unrelated. And the New York Times reports Gates had a reputation for questionable behavior at work. ABC News has not independently verified the claims. The revelations coming after Gates and his wife Melinda announced this month they're divorcing after 27 years of marriage.
Yeah, it sounds like she'd had enough, and he wanted to take out $100 billion on a spin. See what that's like. I don't blame either of them. It's not very nice, Chad. I don't. She'd had enough, and I think, by the way, even if, right, I'm going to say, even if he didn't do any of these things, I think she'd had enough of the oddness. She'd had enough of his peculiar way. I think she was done. On the other side, it's a lot of money. I just tell everybody, you'd be surprised, right? When you have that kind of coin, you'd be surprised how, like Brad Pitt's a 10, Bill Gates is $1 billion. Why? Because Bill Gates is worth billions of dollars. That's why. And it's hard not to go, he's really cute or she's beautiful. She's what? Oh, yeah, she's stunning. Are you just saying that because you're in her $75 billion retreat? Maybe, I don't know. The money. It's just got me all dizzy. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Happy Monday, Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
I'm a supervisor.
And why aren't you letting me in?
Because in the state of California, in the county of Los Angeles, and Costco, there's been no change to our mask policy. Not in the state of California or in the county of Los Angeles.
Didn't you see the news? You didn't see the news. Nationwide Costco has said you don't need to wear masks.
Actually, that's not accurate.
What is accurate?
What is accurate? That's Rick Schroder. A little silver spoons action going on there. He's upset. He's mad. It's the mask mandate, not mask mandate. Could be a mask mandate. Maybe some places, most places, still got to wear your mask. We're going to listen to science, except when science says something that makes everybody feel uncomfortable. Then we're not going to listen to them. And when they want to get political, we'll listen to them then. I don't even know.
So what is accurate is that Costco always goes above and beyond when following the law, and the mandate in California has not changed.
If they grant us that, our kings, the people in power, you're going to listen to these people?
Well, I know
they've destroyed our economy.
Well,
they're destroying our culture. They're destroying our state.
I see.
And you're just going to listen to their rules.
Yeah, I don't think it's their rules. I think it's the other rules that they're listening to, which is Costco.
What we are going to do is simply follow the guidelines.
Okay. I'm getting my refund. I'm getting my refund from Costco. I suggest everybody in California get their refund from Costco. Give up your membership to Costco until they remove this.
Well, silver spoons my butt. Listen to you there acting like you're Mr. Know-It-All. I don't know. Like, I'll go places and I'll carry it in my hand. I'm like, am I supposed to? I don't know. Like, people are going in and like some people do, some people don't. Some they still say we have the mask mandate, but nobody follows it. In some places, they don't seem to have anything. People still wear them. It's confusing. It is completely confusing. And with states' rights, which we all love, it's going to be even more confusing. But politics are still in play here. Don't think that they're not in play. They're dead center right there. Dead center. Can I wear one? Can I not wear one? Should I wear one? I don't know. Then you talk about what's happening in the skies. Right? You've got unruly passengers, always. But we're in a situation where it's like, one thing I do know is, in the skies, you're wearing a mask.
As the FAA, TSA, and CDC all reminded us yesterday, the mask mandate is still in place in transportation. And so if you are in an airport or on an airplane, you will be required to have a face covering. That will be enforced. And there's a zero tolerance policy in place as well, because we need to really understand that just what Dr. Fauci said, for the unvaccinated people, the guidance remains the same. We've got to have this layered approach to safety and health.
And that's what we have to have. Okay. I mean, you're gonna find different things in different places. And the problem is the reactions of people. Some people feel like, okay, we've got the mask mandate. What if I told you at a place like Costco, we've said it over and over again, if they want you to wear top hat and tails, you got to do it. That's their store. Other stores aren't. Walmart, Target, all of them are like, no. And part of it is because Target just removed last week baseball cards and Pokemon cards. So if you're a collector, so we have a guy here that is into collectibles, and he gets up early on like Tuesdays and Thursdays, whenever that different stores had different deliveries, and you could only have one. You had to show him your ID. Isn't it funny you had to show an ID for the cards? Not for voting. That's weird. But, hey, it's neither here nor there. But they've removed him. Why? Too much fighting. People were fighting in the parking lot before the store was even open. Nobody wants this. People are sick and tired of it. They are. But now confusion reigns supreme because people just can't say, that person is not wearing a mask. I don't know if they're supposed to or not. It's none of my business. Let somebody from the store deal with it. I'm going to get on with my life. And I think a lot of stores are going to be like, look, we're going to leave the mask mandate kind of in. Meaning if somebody comes in and they're not wearing a mask, don't make a big deal of it. There's no reason to pick a fight. There's no reason to do any of these things. Just let it go. If everybody comes in that way, it sucks, right? Because it's just, we want this like perfect. Hey, guess what? Everybody, every state agrees with the CDC. We're taking this thing off. Not happening.
In the airports and on the airplanes, we have no way of determining who's vaccinated, who's not. And so the rules have to be the same for everyone. And that is to have a face covering. And if you don't have that, you could face fines up to $35,000 and, in fact, jail time if you are refusing to comply.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. Again, ridiculous. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Still having issues with people and work. More and more states are saying, all right, we've had enough with unemployment. We're getting rid of this unemployment from the feds because we're seeing a massive shortage in workers. And then the battle right now is the battle for wages. Are we going to raise the federal minimum wage? Should we do that? Minimum wage was never supposed to be living wage. It was supposed to be a start of something. Usually lower skilled, and in many cases, a younger generation. By the way, I think it's like 1% or 2% of people are on minimum wage. The way they make it seem to be is everybody is. Well, there's a lot of people that are on like $12 an hour when they should be at $15 or $20 an hour. It's amazing when you have a conversation like this. If you want to get ahead in life, that takes dedication, in some cases, education, right? A mastering of something, making yourself more valuable to the going rate so you can get ahead. It's not the employer's job to get you ahead. It's you as an individual. That's It's always been that way, and it will continue to be that way.
In those instances, in Pennsylvania and elsewhere, where employers have raised wages, you know what? They're no longer having a labor shortage. The problem is not a labor shortage. The problem is that all over this country, workers are being asked to work for starvation wages.
They're asked to work for starvation wages, and that's not true either. Every place, yes, including those places, are having issues with finding employees. Right now, if you are a decent employee, if you're like, I'm a good worker, I got a good head on my shoulders, I show up every day, the sky's the limit with opportunity. You can go places. And why I say that is because get in early. Right now, it's an employee marketplace. Soon, it'll be an employer marketplace, meaning tougher to get a gig, and they're going to be able to set more of the wages and the benefits than you will at this moment in time.
Women often do not have the child care that they need. People are still worried about being exposed to COVID. But what we have got to do is say to workers, you want to go out and get a job, that's fine. We're going to pay you a living wage. And when we do that, guess what? There is no labor shortage.
Okay, so no labor shortage. Do prices go up and things? No. Because all employers will agree to eat all of the extra. No, it's not going to happen that way. Once again, here's the understand. Let's just get this through people's heads, because I posted something last week about we should start a rumor about jobs. It's not going to be enough jobs. That way people will run and get jobs. And people started fighting. And some of the people were like, well, I would never go back to work based on the wages. We need to pay a higher living wage. I'm like, well, then don't go back to work. I don't really care if you do or don't. Don't you think we need a living wage? And how would paying people more make prices more expensive? I'm like, are you serious? That right there shows you everything I need to know. You don't understand. A majority of what eats up at businesses' bills every month are wages. That's usually the biggest thing. So you don't think that gets passed on to the consumer? Well, when that gets passed on the consumer, as your wages rise, things become more expensive. As they become more expensive, guess what happens from there? Your spending power becomes less. Even though your wages are higher, your spending power is less. It's not hard, but people make it hard.
And what the Republicans are saying by trying to do away with this supplement on top of unemployment is we're going to starve you back to work. Whether you like it or not, you're going to be forced to go back to work. My view is pay people a living wage. They will work.
What's a living wage? You ask somebody, what's a living wage? Different for different people. Well, it's $12, it's $10, it's $15, it's $20, it's $30, it's $50. What's a living wage? What's a living wage to you? Because then people say, well, enough where you have money left over at the end of the month. Well, how do I know, right? Like if you're 23 and you've got a roommate or two and you're living on your own and you don't have a car payment, or if you're 32-year-old, right? Parents with a couple kids and you got a mortgage and you got some other bills, your living wage may be different. It was supposed to be a starting spot. It was never supposed to be something else. It just wasn't. If you want to get ahead in life, you better figure out how to make yourself more marketable. Take your skills to a level where people are willing to pay you above what the rate of living is for the skills that you have. It shouldn't be that hard to understand, but it becomes hard to understand because rather than go out, you know what? I'm not worth this many dollars an hour because I'm new at this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make myself worth this and then some. But we can't. Instead, it's like, you know what? Pay them this, period. Crazy. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. Love hearing from every single one of you. Omaha Steaks. I'm out. They're sending me a new batch. I've eaten everything. The kielbasa was the last to go. The pork chops, gone. The kielbasa was it. Now, I got nothing. But I'll tell you what, that Let's Go Grill package, $20 off, plus 5 pounds. It's 12 steak burgers on top of all of the other stuff, which includes 4 fillets, 6 boneless chicken breasts, pork chops, kielbasa, apple tartlets, potatoes, seasoning, and the extra 12 Omaha steak burgers for one low price. It was delicious. I ate them up quick, and I'm hoping to have another group here, if you will, in the next few days so I can enjoy my summer seasoning kickoff party, which will be me basically grilling by myself with my lizards at the house, which I will be happy with. Omaha Steaks is amazing. Right now, you get the Let's Go Grill package. You get all of those things, and they're going to throw you in 5 pounds. That's 12 incredible Omaha steak burgers. Plus, they're going to give you $20 off your first order. How do you get it? It is simple. It is easy. You go to omahasteaks.com. omahasteaks.com. When you go there, there's a search bar. Just type in Chad. That's the keyword Chad. You get this great deal, the Let's Go Grill package, where you're $20 off and you're free 12 Omaha steak burgers, along with all the other fixins, right there at one low price. omahasteaks.com, keyword Chad. omahasteaks.com, keyword Chad. Chad Benson Show.
Set Chad straight. Text the show, 323-538-2423. That's 323-538-CHAD. Someone has to do it. Might as well be you. The Chad Benson Show.
The movie Spiral, spinning its way to number 1 at the box office.
I need everyone on this cake!
The latest film in the Saw franchise took in an estimated $8.7 million in North America over the weekend, a first-place debut for the Chris Rock horror film. Last week's number 1, the action thriller Wrath of Man, drops to second, and it was a far-from-fiery debut for Angelina Jolie's Those Who Wish Me Dead.
I read the wind wrong.
The force-fire drama pulling in just $2.8 million in its third-place debut.
Yeah. Getting a little bit better. Now the question is Memorial Day weekend. You have Cruella, which will debut, and A Quiet Place Part 2, which, by the way, was supposed to debut March of last year. It's how long they've held on to this. Will we see a absolute massive bounce? This weekend coming up, nothing. But next weekend, we could see a big jump in Memorial Day, which is normally the kickoff to summer when it comes to movies and a lot of other things. Kids getting ready to get out of school. And, you know, that's kind of normally when these huge movie companies would launch their massive summertime hits was Memorial Day. And then, you know, you would see, okay, who's going to be at Memorial Day? Okay, they're going to be here. You know what? Let's move ours 2 weeks later. Let's put ours to 4th of July. We don't want to compete with them there. And so now you'll have A Quiet Place 2 and Cruella. And then both of those, I think, will be streaming almost immediately. So we'll see what that looks like, because by then we should be even further on from the mask side of things. Did he or didn't he? I found this interesting. I read this article last night. In the battle of the Flamin' Hot Cheeto.
The LA Times reports an investigation has revealed Flamin' Hot Cheetos were already on the market in some areas before Montañez pitched the idea. And the CEO Montañez claims inspired him did not even work for Frito-Lay when Flamin' Hot Cheetos were developed. But Montañez is standing behind his story.
The best way to destroy a positive message is to destroy the messenger. Never allow that to happen to you. I'm certainly not going to allow it to happen to me.
Montañez has made a business out of telling that story, commanding speaking fees of up to $50,000 per appearance.
Yeah, so he was a janitor, supposedly, at the time that they came up with Flamin' Hot Cheetos. And it was his idea, he said. His name is Richard Montaz. He said he pitched the idea to Cheeto executive while working as a custodian at the Frito-Lay's plant in Rancho Cucamonga. The people that worked there came up over the last couple of years, and nobody really said anything about it. But the people started questioning as this guy got out there more and more. Like, hey, what's the deal with this, right? He's got a book called Flamin' Hot, The Incredible True Story of One Man's Rise from Janitor to Top Executive. It's very interesting because in 1990, the people that they say came up with Flamin' Hot Cheetos were actually people in Illinois. And they tasked some young, I think she was like 28, to come up with something that could appeal more to a Latin market. And they went out and they were testing these things in places like Chicago and a few other places just to see how it went. He said, nah, I came up with it. But the people that were involved, even in Rancho Cucamonga, said, we didn't. Who was this guy? No, he wasn't involved in any of this. Never heard of him before. Never heard of him. And this guy started, look, here's the other thing. The sad thing is, like, he's got a situation where he did start as he graduated like 8th or 9th grade, went to work there, worked his way up to a big-time executive. But now it's one of those things where he's telling a story. He's keeping to it. Other people are saying, never even heard of the guy. Still a good story. And the story of it not being a real story is also an interesting story. Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
It was not a sudden change in recommendations. It was really based on an accumulation of scientific information. We know now that the number of cases per day on an average have come down substantially over the last several weeks, at least 1/3. The actual real-world effectiveness of the vaccines has become now readily apparent based on a number of studies. The effectiveness in the real world is as good or better than it was during the clinical trials.
There we go. That's Dr. Fauci talking about masking or to not mask, mask every day, don't mask. CDC reversed its course. If you've been vaccinated, live your life. I've always said, whether you have or haven't, live your life. Because if you've been vaccinated, you shouldn't care what somebody else is doing. And if you're choosing not to get vaccinated, it's because you think this thing's either a hoax or your body is more than capable of taking care of it and fighting it off. So you're going to live your life fine. That's the way it should be, period, case closed. Some people do not agree. Dana Bash, scared.
Very worried, especially given how incredibly cautious this president and his team have been. Look, it's scary. It's very scary because as hard as it was for us to all as a society socialize to being distanced and being home, it's just as difficult, maybe even more difficult to come out of that for a lot of people.
We've already talked about, and Dana Bass, stop it. We've already talked about the fact that there are going to be some people psychologically who are going to struggle with this, right? There are. And that's real. But a lot of people, they're going to use it as more political fodder. A lot of people I talk to, even people that are they've overdone it with precautions as much as they possibly can to the point where it made everybody else uncomfortable. They're over it as well. Most people are ready to get on. But the new battles come. A great article today talking about people that are going to double mask and wear goggles potentially for the next 5 years. Why 5 years? No idea. Talked to this guy named Joe Glickman who's been vaccinated. He wears 2 masks and he goggles up. And I'm like, wow. That's just bizarre. I can understand potentially if you have a true compromised immune system. But there's a lot of people I know that I talk to who are like, no, I'm always going to wear my mask, which you're totally free to do. But if somebody else is not wearing your mask, right? Like so they're like, hey, I'm going to the store. They don't have any requirements, so I'm choosing not to do it. That's their choice at that point in time, to not do it. Whether they're vaccinated or not, that is their choice. It's time that we move on. It's time that we get ourselves going in the direction where we feel like normal. Because to get people to come back out and start living their lives again, some of these people that are terrified, we're going to have to show the world that it's okay to do that. We're going to have to do that.
Now, if this feels like a big shift from their previous guidance, you're right, it is. And it leaves many of us with questions about what our lives are going to look like going forward. First of all, we know that outside is a lot better than inside. So if you're dreaming about a vacation at a busy beach or a pool, you can go for it. No mask required. Also, if you're fully vaccinated, the CDC guidelines now consider it acceptable to go to a friend's house for dinner, even go to a bar, all without a mask.
Yeah, well, you should. Should be able to do that. Should have been able to do that. But, Chad, it spreads. It does. But let's be real. There has been people who've downplayed this. There's no doubt about that. Thought the last administration downplayed the hell out of this thing, especially when they couldn't legislate it out, argue it out. And it came at a time when there was an election and the economy went to hell in a handbasket. And, yeah, they pumped a ton of money into it. It kept the stock market, but there was a lot of people who suffered out there. Food lines grew tremendously. People were really struggling. Well, would it have been different if this was in the first or second year of Trump's presidency? It's possible. But the reality is, it didn't matter. That's when it came, and that was frustrating for a lot of people to watch the way that he handled it or didn't handle it, the frustration he had with it. And then at the same time, you had states overdo it. You had local municipalities overdo it. You had this chaos of being so cautious that it's just insane. Some of the people out there, like I said, my other show I do, my on-air partner, he would sanitize his banana. He would sanitize it. If you've got the vaccine, live your life. If you don't have the vaccine, live your life. I don't think we should be beholden to people who decided, I don't want the vaccine. Like I said, they feel like, for whatever reason, and there are some people out there for religious reasons, and there are some people out there because of worries about having a allergic reaction to the vaccine, that they will not take this. Those are a small group of people. Everybody else, you've had your chance. For whatever reason, you chose, I don't want to do it. That is fine. Let's live our lives, because there's most places we can go, but not really.
Guys, great news this week. The CDC announced that fully vaccinated people no longer have to wear masks or socially distance, except if you go to most places. Anyway, have fun out there.
Welcome to a bar.
Thank you. Do I still have to wear a mask indoors?
You actually do not.
Great.
As long as you're vaccinated.
I'm entering a bar at 11 a.m. Did you really think I was vaxxed? Because that's on you.
You're right. I deserve COVID.
And scene.
Yeah. This weekend is like, I went to get something to drink. I was on my way to play golf, and I'm walking in. It says mask, but people don't wear masks. They're not. Some people are. And there's that look because of the confusion. It's like, because maybe they just didn't take a sign down or not. And I just don't want to fight with people. I just don't want to. I'm so sick and tired of fighting. It's one of the reasons that, I'll answer people's questions on social media, but I don't like posting anymore. And one of the reasons is I just don't care anymore. I don't want to fight with people I've never met over anything. There are people out there that can fight over a sunny day. It's too hot. It's too much. It's too sunny. Are we close to the sun? It's there. And this just gave us the greatest opportunity to fight with one another And it's just so stupid. It really is. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. It is a nightmare in Israel right now. The battle is continuing to rage on. That's not going anywhere anytime soon. Secretary of State Blinken.
Palestinians and Israelis, like people everywhere, have the right to live in safety and security. This is not an Israeli privilege or a Palestinian privilege. It's a human right.
Yeah, but they're fighting, and that's not going to change. Not today, not tomorrow. Hasn't changed for God knows how long, and it isn't going to change anytime soon. It isn't. And everybody points fingers back and forth at each other. Well, look what they're doing, and look what they're doing, and look what they're doing, and look at them. Israel's bad. They're evil. They're awful. They're horrible. They have all of the weapons. They have all of the power. You have a lot of Palestinians, by the way, who live in Israel. In fact, more of them, I believe, live in Israel than they do in actual Palestine. The two-state solution can work. It can't work. There are groups out there, Hamas being one of them, they don't want it to work. They don't. They don't want it to work because they like doing what they're doing. They got their ass handed to them over the weekend. It's going to happen more and more. They blew buildings up, including buildings that not only had children and people in it, but also journalists. Apparently, we were notified that, hey, the reason that they did this is because Hamas was using some of these buildings as cover, thinking, well, they're not going to do that. They're not going to blow up this building. There are journalists in here. No, they did. And it's ugly. And you hear things like this, and it's hard as a human being not to feel for people who are powerless.
I just want to be a doctor or anything to help my people. I can't. I get scared. I do anything for my people, but I don't know what to do. I'm just 10. All of this, when I see it, I literally cry every day, saying to myself, why do we deserve this? What did we do to this? They just hate us. They just don't like us because we are Muslims. You see all of the kids around me? They're just kids. Why wouldn't you just send a missile to them and kill them? It's not fair.
No, it sucks. And they don't hate you because you're Muslim. They don't like Hamas. And the way Israel does things is, I always go back to the movie The Untouchables. They put one of yours in the hospital. We're going to put two of yours in the morgue. And that's what Israel does. That's what they do. Well, I thought there was peace in the Middle East. That guy and that last group that was there that had a quiet time in the Middle East, they're not there anymore. This is Biden's show. But even if Trump would have stayed 100 years, as some people would like, they're eventually going to get mad at each other. And Hamas was quiet for a long time. Part of the reason is, a little worried. I think they looked over and they thought, Bibi Netanyahu's weak. Let's test Biden. Well, it's a test. Let's see what happens from here. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Car Shield gives you 24/7 roadside assistance, a rental car for free while your car's in the shop. And you out there, you choose that shop. You do that. You choose that shop. And what ends up happening is they pay them directly. You pay a small deductible. Well, the car's got 5,000, 150,000 miles on it. Doesn't matter. Maybe your car's got all the new stuff. I was telling somebody the other day, you know how expensive some of those sensors are. Well, a lot of times to get to those sensors, they got to take out your dashboard. That ends up becoming really expensive. That's where CarShield comes in to help. 24/7, 365. Go to carshield.com, carshield.com. They got plans to start as low as $99 a month. Find out what they can do for you. Use code Benson to save 10%. Carshield.com. Code Benson, save 10%. A deductible may apply. Chad Benson Show.
Check out our Chad Benson Show Facebook page where you can hang out or hang your grievances out to dry. This is Chad Benson.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Now it's time to find out what's trending.
What's trending? Yeah, what does that mean? I mean something, right? Like it's trending on the old internet. What's trending?
All right, let's take a peek and see what's trending. Right now. Start over on the Google. Bitcoin prices. Up, down, Elon Musk. The battle that is the cryptocurrency. A lot of things going on there. Miss Universe yesterday. Mexico's Andrea Mesa wins the 69th crown. Oh, no, really? They still do that? Apparently they still do that. I had no idea they continued to have any of these things. Liverpool soccer team won yesterday 2-1 in dramatic fashion. If you've not seen it, their goalkeeper came up on the last second and scored a header that is worthy of any superstar forward of Ronaldo or Messi's ability. It was awesome. Head over to Twitter, where the battle is raging for everything. Supreme Court, SCOTUS, agrees to consider Mississippi ban on most abortions after 15 weeks. Trump and Kushner are getting blamed for all the violence in Israel, not going back thousands of years over maps that are old, continually old. And then you get a new map, and they're like, oh, no, we had this. And then you're like, once you get to a certain level, people are like, oh, that's just being ridiculous. Well, why does it have to be ridiculous? Because the whole thing is ridiculous at this point in time. UFOs, we're going to touch on this. 60 Minutes did a piece last night on UFOs. And they haven't done anything on UFOs, I think, in 25 plus years. It's crazy. Some of the stuff they talked about in it. Bill Gates, questionable behavior. Apparently, Bill Gates liked a lot of Microsoft, if you will. See how many of those we could do. On your mark. Get set. Yeah. He's like, would you like to see Windows 10? Oh, my Lord. Yeah. So, in a report, he had a reputation of questionable behavior. A wandering eye. He had an affair in 2000. And he had an affair with an employee. One of the reasons they basically wanted to get him gone. He said, no, that's not it. That's not it. There's an open investigation 2019 in one of the cases after being notified that he had sought to initiate an intimate relationship with a company employee in the year 2000. Oh, no way. There was an affair 20 years ago that ended amicably. We've decided to step our separate ways. I think she was over all of it. I do. They said even after they got married in 1994, he pursued other women. Isn't it amazing? Right? Because he was so anti-Trump, and he, in a lot of ways, and he was like 2-3 weeks ago, until this divorce was announced, people would look at him, and the people on the the left are like, oh, people on the right were, oh, he just wants to, put a brain chip in you and stuff like that. And now it's just like, okay, well, he's just fair game for everybody. And it's all starting to come undone. And of course, then there's the Epstein thing, which is still very weird. And somebody needs to protect that lady while she's in jail. Find out all the stuff. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet, text. Love hearing from you. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
The case represents the first abortion test for the court's conservative majority and could lead to the overturning of the landmark decision that has protected abortion rights in this country for a half century. The case involves Mississippi's ban on all abortions after 15 weeks, with the exception of medical emergencies or severe fetal abnormality. A central question is about viability, whether a fetus can survive outside the womb at 15 weeks.
Yeah. So this is their first test. This is it. What will happen? What if they overturn it? First, remember, states have states' rights. So if Roe v. Wade got overturned today, it doesn't mean that abortion's gone. States will set in motion whatever they set in motion. That's why you have states set up the way you do. We're not a democracy as we think, we vote whoever has the most votes win kind of thing. No, we set it up so each state can self-govern themselves, and in doing so can set the parameters. Now, some things there will be battles upon: gun ownership, what kind of guns, you see those things. Rights is one of them. Doesn't mean a place like California, where they're always trying to do something, you can't own a gun. They make it more difficult in some cases, but you can't. People are frustrated that we're always talking about something like this, and now there is a chance that this is going to end up in a 6-3 decision. It may not. They may hear it and say, nah, decide nah. You don't know what's going to happen, but this is what a lot of conservatives have been waiting for. The chance to overturn it, thinking that it's going to go away. I've always said this: just let the women vote. So the women vote on this one, and whatever they say goes, and we just all move on with our lives. I think we're kind of over this battle. And it's funny because then you're going to get people, government shouldn't tell you what to do with your body. Government tells you all the time what to do with your body. How so? Is it my body, my choice? Yeah. What if I want to sell my kidneys? Well, you can't do that. Well, why can't I do that? Just curious. Why can't I do that? Because of, no, tell me. It's different. It's not different. It's my body, my choice. And I've always been one of those things where I'm like, you know what? I'm totally fine. I think if somebody has the opportunity to get themselves out of a situation where they could pay for their college and they could pay for all kinds of stuff, was that a bad thing? I don't think it's a bad thing. I think it's a bad thing at all. That's one thing if you're going, okay, you know what? We're talking about like your kidney, your liver, which grows back, by the way, for those who are not keeping score. Certain things where, this isn't going to, it'll affect your life a smidge, but it'll help somebody else and benefit them far more. Why shouldn't you be able to? Oh, I don't know. Because it's going to unfairly hurt the poor. Why? You got 2 kidneys. One of them's working fine. This person over here, he or she has a ton of money. And if this helps you, why is that a bad thing? Don't think it is. So, yes, the government tells you all the time what you can and can't do. This will be different. And we'll see what it looks like. Do I think it's a slam dunk? I don't know if it's a slam dunk or not. I don't know if it's going to be a slam dunk. You never know with this court what it looks like. Will one of them recuse themselves? Will somebody go on another side and ends up being 4-4, and whatever was the lower court ruling will stand? So we'll see. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. UFOs. I talk about them. Everybody laughs. I'm curious. And by the way, a UFO doesn't mean aliens. Could be. Could be the people and the powers that be from other countries, but highly unlikely based on the fact that there is nobody as advanced as we are, period. So 60 Minutes did stuff last night that they haven't done since the mid-'90s. They talked about UFOs or unidentified aerial phenomenon.
Former Navy pilot Lieutenant Ryan Graves calls whatever is out there a security risk. He told us his F-18 squadron began seeing UAPs hovering over restricted airspace southeast of Virginia Beach in 2014 when they updated their jet's radar, making it possible to zero in with infrared targeting cameras.
So you're seeing it both with the radar and with the infrared. That tells you that there is something out there.
Pretty hard to spoof that.
Yeah, and you could see it. And while this is getting more traction remember, the Pentagon and all the powers that be in the last stimulus that Trump and the Republicans got through, not this one with Biden, the one before that, the releasing of the data of this. And I think the slow burn is happening because there's stuff out there. And one of the things they talked about on more than a few occasions in some of these things is some of these things have shown up places where we have our nuclear devices and they've shut everything down. Where we didn't have any control. They shut it all down. That's frightening because if that's an enemy, we'd be screwed. But no enemy is going to get through our stuff the way that these things did. And no enemy can do the things, no human can do the things that these things are doing and survive, dropping from, 40, 50, 60,000 feet in the air and then in a nanosecond being at the surface of the ocean. No chance that could happen. You'd fall apart.
These photographs were taken in 2019 in the same area. The Pentagon confirms these are images of objects it can't identify. Lieutenant Graves told us pilots training off the Atlantic coast see things like that all the time.
Every day for at least a couple of years.
Wait a minute, every day for a couple of years?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Think about that. Every day for a couple of years. Seeing things that you're just like, what is that? Because you're flying around in some of the most sophisticated equipment on the planet that the planet's ever known. So sophisticated that there's probably no other airplane or object that we know about that can keep up. And you've been trained in such a way to operate this by the best in the world, therefore making you the best. And these things toy with you.
Including this one.
I don't see an exhaust plume.
Off the coast of Jacksonville, Florida in 2015, captured on a targeting camera by members of Graves' squadron.
Look at that thing. It's rotating. Oh my gosh. They're all going against the wind. The wind's 120 knots from the west. Look at that thing, dude.
Yeah. And for years, people didn't talk about it. My thought process was, at some point in time, Trump was going to let everybody know that we've got stuff. Harry Reid's come out and said we have ships that are not of this planet. That's interesting. But when you watch these things maneuver, you don't know what they are. You don't. And when our Navy pilots say, I don't know what they are, I mean, it's this isn't about whether or not, it's a Bigfoot or something like this. There are things out there. And what should be, I don't know what's scarier. Answer me this question. What's scarier? That these may be aliens? Well, that's just stupid. Because if they're not aliens, that means that there are enemies. And they can do whatever they want. And our stuff is useless against them. Which would you like it to be? That's a real question right there. And when you see the way that some of these things maneuver, they were talking about, so imagine a technology. So this is a technology that they say you can do 600 to 700 G-forces, 13,000 miles an hour, fly through the air into water and space with no signs of propulsion. So when you see our jets take off, you know where it's coming from. When you see our rockets fly, you understand there's propulsion. This, nothing. Nothing. Just gone. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. Love hearing from every single one of you. Like I said, which would you rather have? They asked him, do you think you could be Russian or Chinese technology? Because I don't see why not. He goes, I'm worried. He goes, if this were a tactical jet from another country that were hanging out up there, it would be a massive issue because it looks slightly different and we'd be in trouble. Yeah, we would be. Especially if they're going into restrictive airspace and you can't see them on the radar and they're able to turn your nuclear capabilities on and off. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Shows your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. MyPillow has My Towels. Right now, normally $109. You get them for under $50. It's a huge savings. 60-day money-back guarantee, 10-year warranty. You get 2 sets. So each set comes with 2 big towels, right? It's a big. They're not lotiony. They are super absorbent. Then you get those nice big hand towels, and then you get the wash rags. Several colors to choose from, but they've got deep discounts on all of their stuff, from the Giza Dream Sheets to the My Slippers to the My Pillow, the mattress topper, and so much more. And now's your chance to take advantage of it and save big. All you have to do is go to MyPillow.com, MyPillow.com. When you do use that promo code Benson right there, saves you huge dollars on all of their stuff. MyPillow.com, promo code Benson, MyPillow.com, promo code Benson. Chad Benson Show.
Being antisocial sucks. Hang with Chad's friends on Facebook, The Chad Benson Show. And if you just need some alone time, head on over to Twitter at Chad Benson Show. Either way, we can't wait to meet the real you.
A team of Japanese and Russian scientists has successfully reawakened cells from a 28,000-year-old woolly mammoth. The cells came from an extraordinarily well-preserved woolly mammoth discovered in Siberian permafrost in 2012 and nicknamed Yucca. Using a process called nuclear transfer, the scientists took nucleus-like structures from Yucca and implanted them into mouse oocytes, which are highly specialized cells that facilitate embryonic development.
The robot reading you that script there was essentially saying, could Jurassic Park happen? It's possible. It's getting closer every single day. There's no doubt about that. That's if you want it to happen. Oh, it's not that close. Look, anything's as close as you want it to happen if you want to put the time and effort into it.
I was looking under the microscope at night while I was alone in the laboratory. I was so moved when I saw the cells stir. I'd been hoping for this for 20 years. Still, this cell activity wasn't significant enough to suggest it'll soon be possible to clone woolly mammoths, which went extinct about 4,000 years ago.
Tesla has all of, Elon has all of his other stuff that he does. His partner in one of them says we could create a Jurassic Park in no time. Pretty smart kid. I think it's possible. The question is, do you want to? Mostly because should we play God? That's one of the big things with the gain of function and the fight that Fauci got into, and has been on numerous occasions. And while I don't think we need to play this game about, whether Fauci caused all this, because he didn't. I think it's fair to ask some questions about overdoing some of the things that we have done. Just because we can doesn't mean we should. Could we do it? Yeah. There's no doubt in my mind that in some point in time in the future, while I'm still alive, that somebody's going to try to bring back a woolly mammoth or a saber-tooth and will probably be successful at it. And what it usually takes is that first step. And then somebody does something and everybody's like, that's awful. Then they do it as well. They don't want to be the first because you're playing God. But somebody's going to do it. You know it. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Producer Phil, remind everybody what nature can do to you.
Nature will mess you up.
Mess you up. This is awesome. People who are stupid continue to dazzle me with their stupidity and the blurting it out. Why is that? Because there's a survey out. And the survey was asking humans, hey, we have 34 animals here. Which of these do you think that you could take in a fight? Which of you think you could take these in a fight? Okay. All of them are different, but people think, like a quarter of people think that they could take a grizzly bear in a fight. You can't. You cannot. It's not going to happen. Just wouldn't happen. But it also pits all these animals against each other in a rumble. The elephant would have a win rate of 74%, just ahead of the rhino, who's in second. Grizzly bear, 73, if they were fighting each other. Not humans. Because, by the way, all of those. The odd thing is, polar bear came in ninth. Polar bear, tigers, hippos, lions, crocs, all win. It also depends where you're fighting, right? If it's in the water, crocodile's going to win. If it's outside, I can maneuver. If it's in the water or out of the water, hippos are not to be messed with. Hippos will bite you in half. Lions, tigers, and such, yeah, absolutely. Ferocious. Here's some of the other ones that are on the list. King cobra, don't mess with it. Unarmed human was 17th, 17%. Only a goose was lower than an ostrich. They're awful. Chimps, as we know. Horse, coyote, walrus. Depends where you find them. An eagle. I still think out of all of them, probably a tiger would be the winner just because of the speed of which it could attack and the maneuverability. But on any given day, any one of those. And remember, like, snakes still kill more than all of them. And we're not talking about king cobra. So I think the sawtooth viper kills more than any of them. And remember, poisonous and venomous are two different things. Poisonous, if you get stung by something or bit by something, it kills both of it. It could kill both of you. It's killing that thing. Venomous is, I'm biting you or stinging you, and I'm not going to die. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Man, we were just above a goose. 6% of Americans think they could beat a grizzly bear in a fight. People are so stupid. Nature should mess you up. Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
The bottom line is I don't think these mask mandates could have survived another week or two. Prevalence is collapsing. The positivity rate's 1.9%. So the worst thing you could say is maybe we could have eked out another week or two of these mask ordinances before we really had to lift them in a wholesale fashion because people would have just disobeyed them.
Yeah. People are confused. They don't know what to do, what not to do. Even Saturday Night Live made fun of it.
Guys, great news this week. The CDC announced that fully vaccinated people no longer have to wear masks or socially distance, except if you go to most places.
Yeah, kind of. It's confusing. I think we all realize that. But Dr. Gottlieb was right. I think at some point in time, people are looking at the numbers. The numbers are coming down. And let's first, can we just say this? You can always wear a mask. Just because they said you don't have to doesn't mean that you have to stop wearing a mask. Rachel Maddow last week kind of flipped out. Dana Bash.
Very worried, especially given how incredibly cautious this president and his team have been. Look, it's scary. It's very scary because as hard as it was for us to all as a society socialize to being distanced and being home, it's just as difficult, maybe even more difficult to come out of that for a lot of people.
Well, stay inside if you want, and if you can afford it, and wear a mask. Nobody's telling you have to take a mask off. But for everybody else, the vaccinated, the people that followed all of the rules in the 2 weeks of slowing the spread and then flattening the curve, those people even are over it. People I know that have been diligent, even to the point of ridiculous and making everybody else uncomfortable, are over this. It's time to get on. Other people, they just, for whatever reason, I go back to that article of why they continue to want, and it's the progressives, right? It's the people on the left because feelings matter, and they're you know, as one lady said, who's a doctor who treats people, she goes, my left-leaning clients, my leftist clients, and she by the way says, I'm leftist of the left. She says they tend to be more neurotic. Yeah, totally.
I'm actually really worried right now that we're increasing the risk for our children because essentially what the CDC has done is to lift all mask mandates and social distancing mandates, regardless of whether you're vaccinated. I mean, they say only vaccinated people should be taking off their masks, but we know that that's not how people are going to be. The end result is that vaccinated people are going to be fine, but unvaccinated people are now going to be exposed to all kinds of other unvaccinated people who are now going around maskless with no restrictions. I think it's going to be harder for us to reach herd immunity.
It was, let's get people, you know, let's stem the tide, right? We're going to stop the spread. And then it was going to be like, oh my God, now we got to flatten the curve. And here we are some 18 months later, whatever it is. And we're still playing this game, keeping up this kabuki theater of stuff, wearing masks that have zero purpose at this point in time. And I think enough is enough. And if you don't want to get a vaccine, that's a you thing, right? That's a you thing. If you do want to get a vaccine, you've probably already gotten one by now. Right? So let everybody do their thing. Let everybody do their thing. We have gotten this thing down to where it's the positivity rate is less than 2%. Doesn't get any, I mean, you know, we're not getting to zero. Just remember that. We don't get to zero with the flu, and we have a vaccine, and we've been exposed to it. We have treatments. We don't get it to zero.
It was not a sudden change in recommendations. It was really based on an accumulation of scientific information. We know now that the number of cases per day on an average have come down substantially over the last several weeks, at least 1/3. The actual real-world effectiveness of the vaccines has become now readily apparent based on a number of studies. The effectiveness in the real world is as good or better than it was during the clinical trials.
Yeah. So that's why we need to get on. That's why we need to have a sense that it's time to get ourselves back out there. And if you don't want to get yourself vaccinated, you're totally fine with that. If you do, you've already done that. As far as vaccinating kids, I think what you're going to see is, especially 12 to 15-year-olds, parents are going to be hesitant. I think eventually they'll come around. You know when they will? The closer we get to school. That's when they will. The closer we get to school, when you see what the guidelines are, is when you'll see parents come around. Right now, probably not as, people are probably not as excited about it as the adults were, because this thing affects adults still far worse. Chad, last week you said the flu kills more children. Yeah, it does. But that's not true. If you go and look at the flu statistics over a period of time of 13 weeks, not 18 months, make all things equal, make the flu season 18 months, then compare the numbers. We're acting like this has just been a week or two or a month or two. This has been almost 18 months of this. So look at those numbers. And we have treatments for the flu. And we have vaccinations for the flu. As far as kids taking this at this moment in time, like I said, it's going to be a parent-by-parent thing. But I also think parents are just going to kind of let it flow, see how some of the other kids are doing. And then the closer we get to the point where school is sending out their emails about start dates and you know, your schedule, and start addressing some of those things, especially when it comes to masks and stuff like that, then I think you'll see parents do something. As far as little kids, ages 2 to 9, I don't know. I don't know how that's going to go. And more parents, you know, that the amount of kids that are going to be homeschooled next year, they think will have doubled from the pre-pandemic era. I think you're seeing a lot of parents are like, man, these kids can knock this stuff out in 3-4 hours a day and do other things and live their life. They don't need to be doing this, and they feel happier with it. And being able to be around their friends still without being shut in. The only reason kids really want to get back to school wasn't because some kids it was learning, but a lot of it was just the social activity of it all.
Family by family, people are going to have to decide whether their children will understand that if they're younger than the age of 12, that they're going to have to wear a mask if the rest of the family is not. We have this for many other policies that influence families at different age ranges. And I think that that's going to have to be a family by family decision.
Yeah, name one of those. Just curious. What's the other policy where if I'm curious, can you think of any policy where we have this? Yeah, Chad, you know, the policy of no, I can't think of another policy where people are vaccinated and a child isn't. We all have to wear a mask. I cannot think of another policy. I'm going to call on that one.
Is it safe for that unvaccinated child, even in a mask, to be in a grocery store when people around them could be unmasked and not following the honor system because they're not vaccinated?
What we're saying is those kids should continue to wear a mask in those settings. We recognize the challenge of parents who can't leave their kids at home should be masked in those settings and to the best of their ability to keep a distance. The recommendations for those settings have not changed.
We'll see what it looks like in the fall. And that's the big thing. People are looking at the fall next of what does that look like? Is there going to be a situation in the fall where kids are going to go back to school mask-free? In droves, not just in a place here and a place there. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from all of you.
2, 3, 4, 1, 2.
Little Tax Man Day. So if you haven't done your taxes, tax time. File an extension. Most people, I think, have done it. Some people haven't. Some people, like small business owners and stuff, that do quarterlies, things of that nature. But today is the day. So you file an extension, you drop it off. Today is your day, the last day, to get your taxes in for last year. Beatles. I never really decided if I like the Beatles. I think they're okay. I think they're all right. Wasn't a huge fan. Didn't dislike. Didn't love. Enjoyed at times a few of the songs, but never loved them like so many people did. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. In fact, that movie yesterday that came out, I think it came out last year, year before last, about a guy who he's kind of lives in a small English town, and something happens to him on the way home. He's riding his bike. He lives with his mom and dad, and something happens to him. Like there's a flash of light, and when he wakes up the next day, it's everything is mostly the same, but then a lot of things aren't the same. And the Beatles have never been. Things like Coke haven't been invented yet. But everything else is kind of the same. And I got a new appreciation of some of their stuff, I think more so through that than the actual Beatles. Tax day, kids. You got your taxes? Get them in? Maybe you've already done that. But get them done. Because, the IRS, they're so far backed up. They are so far backed up. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Like I was talking the other day about stuff that's backed up. I've got stuff that I've tried to get from California for the last year and a half. And they're so far backed up. It is going to take them months and months and months and months. What was I reading yesterday? The cards, people do those collectible cards like baseball cards and stuff. The number one grading system, I think it's called PSA, they've shut down. They have shut down because they have 1 million pieces of baseball cards and football cards and basketball cards to grade. They can't get to them for potentially 2 years. It's just like, we can't accept anymore. That's kind of what's going on for a lot of things out there. People are just like, we don't have the manpower. And for some things, we just don't have the training for it. 323-538-2423, masterclass. How would you like to be a master at something? Well, to do that, you got to do a lot of things. And one of them is learning. And who best to learn from than the actual masters themselves? Maybe you think to yourself, I'd love to be a songwriter. I got a great song in me. Don't know how to do it. Reba McEntire teaches you from top to bottom how you go about doing that. Maybe you've thought about, hey, you know what, Chad? One of the things I'd love to do is to be a chef. I've thought about it. Thomas Keller, Michelin star chef, will show you the way, right? All kinds of stars, but these are the masters. Wayne Gretzky's brand new on there. You can learn from him. Maybe you're thinking to yourself, I'd like to learn about writing. I got a great novel in me. Plenty of people to teach you that. N.K. Jemisin and many others. These are the people that are the greatest at the top of their field, from journalism to history to science to design to sports. You can learn from them. It's about 41 cents a day, and it's simple and easy. Go to masterclass.com/Benson. Save you 15% right there. You get downloadable materials. Each course is about 20 videos long. You can watch them anywhere, and they're about 10 minutes per video, and it is incredible. Masterclass.com/Benson. Masterclass.com/Benson. Chad Benson Show.
Warning, no snowflake zone. Uninformed opinions are in danger of melting. The Chad Benson Show.
So when you have a diminution in the number of cases, you have clear-cut, true effectiveness of the vaccine, and you show that even if people do get infected, which is very, very rare breakthroughs, that they virtually never get severe disease. So based on that, it was felt that we could take that, what we call the step towards normality, to be able to get people to function in a way that approximates the way things were prior to this terrible outbreak.
By the way, that's very rare, unless, of course, you're a Yankee coach. It was like 9 Yankee coaches tested positive for the coronavirus, having already been vaccinated. That's weird. They're all asymptomatic. None of them knew they even had it. I guess somebody, I don't know if they had been vaccinated or not, because they're kind of quiet about if it was what exactly took place, but had some symptoms, and they went and they're like, whoa, wait a minute here. You have coronavirus. And they tested everybody else, and they're like, you guys have the coronavirus. And they're like, what? They didn't know. But if you've been vaccinated, get on with your life. Get on. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. It's Get Ugly with Bill Gates. Who would have thunk, right? New allegations, and you've got that whole Epstein thing.
Also under scrutiny, Bill's relationship with convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. The Wall Street Journal reporting Melinda first turned to divorce attorneys as her husband's connection to Epstein became public in 2019. Now, the Daily Beast reporting Epstein allegedly gave Bill advice on ending his marriage when they met between 2011 to 2014. A spokesperson for Mr. Gates telling the Daily Beast the characterization of those meetings is inaccurate, and any claim that Gates spoke of his marriage or Melinda in a disparaging manner is false.
Yeah. Apparently he was also very odd around people at the office. They had done some investigating. He had had a couple of affairs and it also made some people uncomfortable. Look at Bill there. What is this about? He strikes me as a person that makes you feel uncomfortable anyway. But the way that they're describing it was uncomfortable in a sexual nature, at least him hitting on people. So, man, it's all coming out now, Bill, huh? That sweater vest, that didn't fool anybody, you freak. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. 'Tis the Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Happy Monday. Happy Monday. Your gas prices going up or down? Producer Phil, what are your gas prices now?
They actually started to go down a little bit, like 4 or 5 cents.
Yeah, so stay a little steady. Doesn't mean things are getting back to normal. Remember, we're heading towards what? Memorial Day weekend. Typically, many places in the country that have two fuels, you have a winter blend and a summer blend, are getting ready to change over. Because of that, you're going to see a slowdown in production as the blends switch over. Secondly, we're still short drivers, but yeah, there's still an issue in the Southeast with Colonial. And that's not going to change immediately. That will change over the next several days.
Colonial's massive 5,500-mile pipeline is back up, but lingering fuel outages still plaguing the nation's capital. As of this morning, 80% of D.C. stations experiencing shortages. North Carolina still feeling the pinch, too.
Every day you have to literally get up, wake up, and the first thing you have to prioritize is finding fuel.
Experts at Gas Buddy say once the level of alarm goes down, stations should fill up within days.
Yeah, it's going to happen. But what you're going to see is goods in certain places are going to rise. Why? Because it's costing more money to ship goods, little things like that. Then you have to ask yourself, the other question is, when's this going to happen again? What's next?
Yeah, I just don't think enough people are paying attention to it. You know, I've been out of government for a couple of years, but when I was there, you ask any national security person, what's the biggest threat? They'll all tell you it's cyber. It's not North Korea, it's not Islamic terrorism, it's this. More people need to realize this is the big threat. We have millions, if not billions, of connected devices around this country that if they are hacked can do real damage.
Yeah. The wars that would be raged on this planet, and I say that because of the UFO thing, the wars that would be raged on this planet are going to be economic and cyber in nature. Those two. If you took us offline today, for any amount of real time, you would have serious issues. And not just because people lose their mind because they can't go to Instagram and see what somebody posted about food, but because work would be completely disrupted. We are so connected in such ways that it would be tough, very tough for a lot of people. Cyber and financial is the battle that is going to be waged in the coming months and years.
Entire cities can have their power grids knocked out. And, this is a relatively small crisis compared to, I think, what the real threat is. And so it needs a lot more attention.
But will it get it? Probably not. I mean, you go and look at our power grids are so vulnerable. So vulnerable. Have we done a lot? No. We haven't done what we should be. When you talk about infrastructure, the first thing we do is we protect the things that are truly vulnerable to the best of our abilities from any kind of electromagnetic boom. We need to protect ourselves in those places. This is where it's going to happen. And we're fighting them and they're fighting us. And some people, and here's the weird thing. It's also one of those things, like if you go back to the Old West, I always like these, you look at the great marshals and sheriffs and criminals. A lot of them kind of rode the line of, I'm a good guy, but I'm also kind of a bad guy. Mostly a good guy. But I'm also friends with some of the bad guys. And you go and look, and they kind of all had their foot in both sides of things. Well, with hackers and all of these things, it's kind of one of those things, too. We know who the bad guys are, and they know who our bad guys are. But our bad guys and their bad guys, it's like one of those things. It's unfortunate we need them. And we also know they do things where you're like, ugh. But at the same time, it is the devil you have to deal with. So you just let them do their things. And when we need to, you don't think there are people that are doing stuff that shouldn't be doing anything. We know they're doing some stuff. And at the same time, as we monitor them, we're giving them opportunities to, let's say, wipe the slate clean. But let's just say we turn a certain blind eye to certain things. Of course we do. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. It is getting uglier and uglier on a daily basis in Israel. Casualties are growing. Are we getting closer to a ceasefire? Don't know. I don't know. I don't think we are. And let's not forget, this is something that goes back a very long time. In our modern world, it goes back to, the turn of the last century, and was where you can start looking at stuff and say, oh, my goodness. They've been at it in modern times, for such a long time. And that isn't going to change overnight. It isn't.
Palestinians and Israelis, like people everywhere, have the right to live in safety and security. This is not an Israeli privilege or a Palestinian privilege. It's a human right.
They started battling in modern times. You can go back to 48, 67. But if you even go back further, it has been a situation where they have fought and continued to fight. And Palestine and the Palestinians, they've just, it's tough. You want people to have the opportunity to live in peace, right? And that was Blinken right there. He's our Secretary of State. And he talks about, hey, anybody want the opportunity to live in peace, right? Whether Palestinian or Jewish or whoever or whomever. When you hear stuff like this, right? You hear things like this little girl.
I just want to be a doctor or anything to help my people, but I can't. I get scared. I do anything for my people, but I don't know what to do. I'm just 10. All of this, when I see it, I literally cry every day, saying to myself, why do we deserve this? What did we do to this? They just hate us. They just don't like us because we are Muslims. You see all of the kids around me? They're just kids. Why wouldn't you just send a missile to them and kill them? It's not fair.
Because you have people within inside of your world who use you guys as shields. You have other countries who use you as fodder to hate the Jews and it goes back away. I mean, you can go back to the Grand Mufti. If you don't know who he is, essentially, you could trace him back all the way, supposedly, of the grandson of Muhammad, right? I mean, here's a guy, Muhammad Ayman al-Husani, who hung out with who? The Nazis. Didn't just hang out with them. During the Nuremberg trials, they're like, yeah, this guy made it totally possible. This guy was all about it. This guy was all about the Jews. He turned away the Jews that were coming there because, we don't want them here. Right? You're hanging out with Hitler and you're hanging out with the worst of the worst. And so everybody goes back to a time before to point fingers. We live in a modern time. The problem is they still hold on. And as we all know, when it comes to a fist fight right now, Palestine is going to lose. They are going to lose. Can Biden do anything? And I saw people today blaming Kushner and Trump. Stop it. Enough. This was long before this insanity that we're seeing right now was happening. This has been going on. You can trace it back a very long way. In modern times, all the way back to when people start taking stuff out of their holy books, the Quran, the Bible, whatever it is, and they all have a map. Everybody's got a map of something. Here's my map. What's your map say? Let's see what they can do. Let's see if there is an opportunity at a ceasefire. But as we all know, these ceasefires rarely work because it only takes one or two for them to fire something off, and the next thing you know, boom, it's on. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Dan Crenshaw. I like Dan Crenshaw. I do. I think he's got a future in the Republican Party. I think he's got a good head on his shoulder. I think the guy is smart enough to see all sides and realize that we need parties that can represent all of the country, not just their side of it. Touched over the weekend about Liz Cheney and the drama.
You can't forget that we already had this vote for Liz Cheney. We had this vote, and that vote was directly because of her vote for impeachment. And she won overwhelmingly. But what happened after that, effectively, she kept demanding that everybody else start apologizing. So she refuses to apologize, which is fine. I don't think she should. But then she demands that everybody else does. Look, there is disagreement, and it's time to move on. We can keep having that fight if we'd like, but what is the point and what is the outcome? When in reality, we need to be talking about the things that American people actually care about.
Well, not all that's true. I mean, is some of that, is there a little bit of that? Yes, because people ask her the question, she answers the question. But also because a lot of other people in the powers that be in the Republican Party are still taking their marching orders and still doing things based on the Trump doctrine, and they're deferring a lot to him, and Trump has a burr. When he feels he's been wronged by somebody, it's about getting them back. And she was the highest ranking member. This has nothing to do. You can talk about all this stuff. Oh, yeah, but she didn't like Trump. And is it about Trump or is it about your actions? Because the actions themselves, this is what you say about Trump. At the end of the day, his actions and the way he governed was much different than the way he spoke. She voted with him far more than Stefanik, who's taken over for her. She's much more moderate, what some people call a rhino. But the difference is she will kiss the ring when everybody else, like Liz Cheney, won't.
I got to tell you, this is not the subject that I'm asked about. I get asked a lot of questions. I'm always meeting with people. I never get asked about this. I get asked about why is there rising inflation? Why is there a border crisis? What is going on in the Middle East? Why can't we get gas? What is happening to our energy infrastructure? Why can't I hire people? Why are they getting paid by the government to stay at home instead of come to work? These are things that really affect people, not this internal drama.
Yeah, but you guys make it that way. You may get asked that. And the border thing is a very real thing. Like, we can all agree to that, no matter what they say. Nothing to see here. Officer Bob Reddy, nothing to see here. It's very real. We know why the gas prices have gone up. It's not because it's not because we're lacking in the actual products. We're lacking the people to get the product to the places we need. And yes, we went way too long with some of these benefits that were way too generous, and it should have been more of a situation where we pointed the benefits at specific areas in the country and industries that needed them more than others and been more targeted. And inflation, we'll see what that looks like. We'll see. What does inflation look like? Are they going to fight inflation by slowing down the printing of money, by raising some interest rates? Are they going to try to play that balancing act? Tom Friedman, who is out there talking about, no. In fact, we need to print more money. We need to double, triple print money. You see, there's a couple progressive monetary groups out there talking about just continue to print, continue to throw money at it, continue to do stuff. And that may work for a while, but eventually it's going to explode. And then the climb out will be long. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson shows your Twitter. Omaha Steaks. Love them. OmahaSteaks.com. Let's Go Grill Package. Let me tell you what you get, okay? Let me tell you what you get normally. You get 4 fillets. You get the 6 chicken breasts. You get the 4 amazing pork chops, pork loin. Tastes nice. You also get kielbasa, apple tartlets, caramel apple tartlets, potatoes. All those things are great. But with this package, you get $20 off, and they're going to throw in burgers. You're going to get burgers. Now you're going to get 5 extra pounds of burgers. 12 amazing Omaha steak burgers. And it is incredible. I've eaten all of my stuff. I have nothing left. The kielbasa was the last to go. I'm going to get a new package before Memorial Day. Now's your chance to run at it. Plus, Father's Day is not too far. So Let's Go Grill Package. Grab it now. Save $20. Get an extra 5 pounds of amazing Omaha steak burgers. All you do is go to omahasteak.com. There is a search bar. All you do is type in Chad. That's the keyword, Chad, C-H-A-D, omahasteaks.com. Get this, grab it, get that $20 off, plus those free burgers. omahasteak.com, keyword Chad. Chad Benson Show.
Welcome to Chad. No, not the country. The institution. The Chad Benson Show.
The movie Spiral, spinning its way to #1 at the box office.
I need everyone on this cake!
The latest film in the Saw franchise took in an estimated $8.7 million in North America over the weekend, a first-place debut for the Chris Rock horror film. Last week's #1, the action thriller Wrath of Man, drops to second, and it was a far-from-fiery debut for Angelina Jolie's Those Who Wish Me Dead.
I read the wind wrong.
The force-fire drama pulling in just $2.8 million in its third-place debut.
Yeah. Not next weekend, but the following weekend. That is the weekend to see if movies are back. We should be even further down the line. MASH should be flying off at a high rate of speed. And theaters, well, they should be back in full effect. Even Dr. Gupta thinks that there's that chance we could do some of those things.
You could catch the latest movie at a theater. You could go to a concert. You could even go to an amusement park.
So you're going to have A Quiet Place 2 and Cruella out. And this will be the first real big test in the box office world. Can movies return in such a way that people are going to want to see them in the theaters and feel comfortable about it? I think a lot of people have zero problem seeing things in the theaters. I think it's a comfortability thing. They do not feel comfortable at this moment. And the mask thing is big. I think if you're going to have people with the mask situation where you've mandated it's still there, just like me with I don't want to fly anywhere because I don't want to wear a mask and I won't do it, so I just choose not to fly. We'll see. We'll see. But that'll be the next test, because as they start to open things up, people can start to, concerts are starting to just sell left, right, and center. I know here we're going to have the UFC, I think, first or second week of June out here, and they're selling tickets, and it's just basically wide open. Ticket excitement. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. Got you through the Monday, as we tend to do. You guys have an amazing rest of your Monday. We're going to do it again, as we always do, on Tuesday after Monday. Even though Anthony hates Tuesday and thinks it's the weirdest day of the week. I can give or take, but I do like tacos on Tuesday. You guys have a good one. We'll do it again tomorrow. Night, Jack.
This is the Chad Benson Show.